the Dirty Dojo. I'm Sifu Z out here in the Sierra Nevadas.
And I'm Sifu Chad out here in the Rocky Mountains.
Rocky Mountains. Uh-oh, once again, on my end, somewhat frozen, but if you missed that.
Frozen, or am I just standing really incredibly still?
That's right. That's right. I love when you have that certain smile and then it freeze frames that way. It's just, I want to hurry up and try to do a screen capture of that. All right. So if you're new to the Dirty Dojo, this is usually a half hour. Now I'm not sure if Sifu Chad's going to be able to do this because I haven't spoken with him previously about this. So don't feel on the spot if you've got other obligations. However, I wanted today to do the day 2, which is a lower body exercise. Now, I know I did these exercises before, and I have them as a playlist for you guys over on the Patreon site. However, there's no rules saying that we can't do it again. And I don't know. I'm not quite sure how live it was for the day 2. Now, again, if you're new to the channel, this is a martial arts inspired exercise channel in respect to martial arts exercise. And the series that I speak of is a 3-day-a-week bodybuilding series. And it's something that I've been working with and having a good amount of success with. I used to be a fitness trainer before I was a martial arts instructor. And so luckily, I knew the questions to ask Chat GPT. So this is a Chat GPT created session. Now I've typed it out, or I've copy and pasted this out for you guys in the again on the Patreon site, and I think maybe even in the description of the playlist, the bodybuilding playlist, right? Now, here's the thing. For what I would suggest that you do, all of you do, is you take that routine, you copy and paste it into Chat GPT, and you give it your specific information, your body type, your weight, your age, your energy levels, anything, I got any problems you have, right? And then it's pretty damn good at spitting out a very specialized routine that's made just for you. And I'll tell you what, it does better than any Planet Fitness or one of those franchise type trainers would do, right? Because and that's mostly because you can feed it information that you probably wouldn't tell some stranger that's 24-year-old that's being paid to teach you how to do whatever. So ChatGPT is full disclosure is the routine that I'm working with, and I've been doing it for a few months now just to vet it, and so it's I must say it's quite good. I still need some tweaking. Of course, you're always tweaking your diet because mostly with bodybuilding and sculpting your body, it has more to do with the food that you're eating. The lifting is secondary. it's important, but it's still secondary. The food is number one, right? So you're always tweaking that. But also, as you're making gains, you want to tweak the routine to, you want to add weights or repetitions. So there's a lot of things that you can use Chat GPT for. And since I'm a fitness instructor, I've been doing that for years. You can always run your routine by me, and I can double check it. But I would almost guarantee that it will be fine. You know, because fitness is such a saturated data. There's so much data saturation with fitness. There's no shortage of data regarding fitness. You know, and people asking questions regarding uh, fitness questions. So quite an interesting take on the fitness world, which I never thought of back in the day, that we would have this sort of, we would have all the world's information on sports physiology. Yeah. As long as you knew the questions to ask, and and you knew to look for errors in the information. It's usually not error altogether error. There's usually just a little error, that you might need to double check. So yeah, I'm going to do this. We're already 6 minutes and 50 seconds into this session. By the way, train at your own risk. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. If you want to join us for our private sessions where we do martial arts and self-defense, Wing Chun specific, join us over at patreon.com/Sifu Z. So this session, Sifu Chad, is going to last about an hour. So if you do you have that amount of time? And then we're not going to do the private.
Yeah, I got enough time.
Okay, excellent. So day 2, we're getting hearts, but nobody is showing up in our chats yet. I figured we could also use my talking time right now as an onboarding little buffer. Time for the tech to align so we don't freeze frame, and then for people, gives them time to come on board. So anyway, today we're going to be doing what's called day 2. Again, you can look at the day 1, day 2, day 3 on your Patreon accounts. But day 2 is what's called lower body, and day 3 is the full body. Day 1 is upper body, and so this is squats. We're talking squats, deadlifts, lunges, step ups, calf raises, and twists. That's it. Nice, short and simple. In most cases, we're doing 3 sets of 12 repetitions. So welcome, Tyrone Washington. This is martial art inspired exercise. Today we're doing bodybuilding, and we're doing the lower portion of our bodies today. So welcome. That's what you're here for. So for this first exercise, you don't need weights. You can use a sandbag. You can use a gallon of milk. You can use a bunch of books. You could use resistance bands. But if you have like a dumbbell, then that comes in handy for resistance purposes. So let's go. This is a deep squat. So, like I said before, like I've said before, yeah, Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, if you've got those are great for this sort of thing. So watch your knees. If you can't squat all the way, then don't squat to your point of comfort. If you can't squat down all the way, however, I would suggest you don't use weight, because the important part right now would be to get the flexibility, the complete flexibility. That's just my suggestion on that. All right. So this is going to be 4 sets of 10. First set, let's go. I'll count the first set. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in between sets, we should wait about 60 seconds or 1 minute. Anywhere between 1 minute to 90 seconds. And this is a drinking show. Drink lots of water. I do a little trick. Get hot water as hot as it can. You put it in a glass container. You let the glass and the water container, while open, you let it cool down. And the water tastes way better. So give it a try sometime, especially if you don't like the taste of your water. But also, having water sit around helps to off gas a lot of the stuff that they put in the water. All right, round 2. Sifu Chad, would you count these out, please?
Sure. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10.
Good. That's set 2 of 4. Yeah.
It's been really nice having the Mook Jong set up in my room, because I can just, just like,
Yeah. I do that a lot right now with my tennis ball.
yeah.
Yes, especially Biu Jeet, doing Biu Jeet and Yun Saws. Bam! Instead of moving out of the way, just going boom, and just have it move the way you want it to,
Yeah.
Like, especially if you put a little spin on it, and it just spins right around your head as you walk forward. All kinds of fun stuff. You get very inventive,
Yeah.
The whole
Yeah.
idea is just knowing that that's there and
Yep.
manipulating or navigating rather that reality on a regular basis. All right, set 3. And yeah, since we got 4, I'll count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, one last set to go. And yeah, if you need more resistance, do more reps or do higher weight. You can, in some cases, especially if you're trying to develop an underdeveloped area, do an extra set or 2 for stubborn areas. Like in the old days, we used to do 5.
Yeah. 5 was the counter. And it was like 8 to 12 reps or something like that, depending on your, intensity.
So something that I just wanted to say, a little side note before we do our last set of squats, is remember how we were talking about correcting the wrong footwork?
Yeah.
Like, whoop, right? Well, that's all connected with Biu Jeet. So when you're correcting your footwork in relation to maybe something you've done here wrong, yeah, you're talking Biu Jeet style, right? Talking Biu Jeet. Or rather, you want to think Biu Jeet, right? The energy of Biu Jeet must come in when you need to correct or make more accurate a response, right? Because maybe you do something like this and you know this is not good, right? So now there's this whole reversal of, right? Or maybe here, whoa, there we go. You see what I'm saying? So again, you bring that spirit to that whole recovery process. And that's a good word for is recovery. All right. Last set.
When I'm skateboarding, and I'm kicking, it's funny because when you kick, you go, ha! And your back foot is this way and your front foot's that way. I think about that.
I know. I used to use Wing Chun to check everything. Now I use skateboarding to check my Wing Chun. I know when I have to bow down,
Oh yeah, and ready. And 1, 2, 3, 4.
Drive 3 heels.
5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10.
Yeah. Now, do you have 2 of those?
Just one.
Just one, okay.
35-pounder. Yeah.
You can, use whatever. I'm going to be using Now, two of the weights I have to do this next exercise, which is Roman deadlifts. Now, old school deadlifts are having you over here. They've always been very problematic for people's backs.
Yeah.
Certainly for my back, but for a lot of people. Now, this is a very delicate system right here, you know?
Yeah.
So Roman deadlifts stop at the knees. So as soon as you get to the knees, you keep a nice straight back, of course, but you stop at the knees. So it certainly allows you to do a lot more weight, but I'm not doing a lot of weight here, of course.
Yeah.
On this, I'll err on the side of lighter weight every day of the week.
Perhaps I'll just do the regular kettlebell swing.
Well, I prefer you do as much of what I'm doing because people might be following along, you know what I'm saying? And they too only have one kettlebell or gallon of milk or something or whatever you have, one sandbag, right?
All right. I'll just use one then, keep it in the middle and do it that way.
With like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Very good. Okay, let's count them out. Now this is 3 sets of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Yeah, in fact, I would even suggest doing just that amount of weight for starting off.
Yeah.
You know, because 35 is a decent amount of weight to activate a muscle group. Because again, you're just using weights to activate the muscle group. If everybody could get all ripped, you know, by just lifting heavy weight, then there would be a lot more ripped people. The reason why certain guys are really ripped is because they know how to activate the muscle group. And then pump up more weight. A lot of people, they can lift the weight, but they're still not activating the muscle group, you know?
Right.
Effectively.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So with this, the activating by keeping the back straight, you're just trying to activate that muscle group there. So it doesn't take a lot of weight. All right, set 2. Sifu Chad, we count these out.
All right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Good. Now, right after I got done speaking, I felt a twinge in my lower back. I don't know if it was psychosomatic or what, but so right away, instead of continuing with the exercise and doing the damage or risking damage, stop the exercise immediately and just use light weights. And if I didn't have lighter weights, I would just do the movement, right? I would just go, okay, yeah. because I don't want to give into the weakness. I'm trying to develop that weakness, but you don't want to put damage on top of the weakness. That's not so good. All right. Yeah, I'm sleeping in beds and stuff, messing up my back. I ain't never had a lower back till I start sleeping in a freaking bed. Damn.
Oh yeah. It's all cushiony and squishy.
All right. Yeah, I'll count these out. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. That's one thing I'm always on the lookout for at thrift stores is weights. Not the plastic ones. If you don't mind the plastic ones, they're fine. Weight is weight, right? But I always
Get a 2 pound.
Yeah, I always look for those the steel weights, Oh yeah, man, doing heavy hands, just heavy hands and this stuff. Oh yeah, fun.
Yeah. Have you? You're talking about your back and sleeping and stuff like that. I wonder because I'm a side sleeper, but I also sleep on a futon on the ground, like a Japanese style futon on the ground. And I'm either on the side or I'm sprawled out on my stomach, and it's probably not the best position for the back sleeping. But I haven't had any tweaks from it so far. But I'm also still young, so there's that.
Whatever. A lot of people have very strong bones or strong joints. They're sort of made. Man, there's some people that can sleep anywhere. They can even sleep sitting.
Yeah, on a plane. Jeez.
I remember when I went kung fu crazy, I fell asleep doing seal and tell a few times.
I could see that happen.
Yeah.
Especially when we're doing like a 30-minute to an hour long single Siu Tao. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, this was back in the day of the 12 and 16-hour seal and towels.
Oh, this is back in the CC days.
Yeah,
the GCC.
And even the early Hawaii days, because when I left Chris Chan, went right to Hawaii, I just kept training like that,
Yeah.
I'd wake up 4 a.m, wake up 4 a.m, jogging with a bunch of sandbags in my backpack and holding a pickaxe and sandbags out. Because I figured if my cardio was strong and if I can hold my arms out and you couldn't do anything,
Yeah.
That's a pretty good tool to have,
Yeah. Dude,
little did I know how much I was missing the whole point, but that's all right. I was transitioning from old school because prior to that I was fitness and weight training, right? So I was kind of trying to assimilate that with this, much how I'm doing right now. Old habits die hard.
Indeed.
But I really do feel it's worth the effort to really try to gain muscle mass and whatnot. If you're fat, you want to turn your fat into muscle mass. If you're skinny, then you want to build muscle mass. Muscle mass is a good thing, says medical science, right? When you're losing muscle mass, that's not so good.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
So yeah.
that's
So
protein.
yeah,
Protein.
yeah. So getting old isn't the only way to lose muscle mass. Just atrophying and not, using it by not losing it by not using it.
Yeah.
So. All right. So for this next one, I'm going to use a stool like that. I should work. And I'm using a little foamy
Stats.
in order to keep balanced. Maybe I don't know. I probably don't need that. But
Were we only doing sets of the of that last one or 4? Was it just 3?
that was just 3.
Oh, that was just, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did our Roman deadlifts 3. Yeah. So now we're going to move on to our lunges. And since we can afford a little bit of talking beyond a minute when it comes to exercises, because our deadlifts aren't really associated with our lunges. Our deadlifts are for the back here. Our
Right.
lunges, that's for so. What do you got there? Oh, geez, I don't know if you'd be able to use that for lunges.
You don't
Oh
think
my
so?
God, yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, this is something that I'm a little suspicious of, and I want to tweak, because
Okay.
we did squats, then we did deadlifts, and now we're doing lunges. I'm a little suspicious of that.
Mm.
Like, why not? Because you're trying to exhaust muscle groups, right? So why would you not have lunges and squats right next to each other? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I might need to go into a little investigation on that. But
Yeah.
again, it's good to know what to ask and what to look for. When you use Chat GPT and you're ignorant of the topic, then that could be very dangerous. Yeah, or misleading. Let's say, right? It'd be very
Right.
misleading. So as long as so many times I've asked a question and then go, "Are you sure about this one part?" And they go, "Oh yeah, that's a mistake," all the time. So yeah, what's nice is you can archive your discussions with ChatGPT and go back to the discussion, so it just remembers all those layers that you might have, because you can go on for many layers until you get the information that you're looking for. In the way that you want it. So anyway, all right, let's do these. Hold on, hold on. We just did deadlifts. It's lunges. So okay, I understand that we're doing lunges because we're doing lunges and then we're doing step ups. Okay, now we're talking a slightly different muscle group. Lunges. We're doing 3 sets of 12. So you can use weights. I think I'm going to try it with weights today, but you don't have to use weights. But you're touching your back knee and up. You're touching your back knee and up. That's one. Let's see if it looks a little better here. Yeah, it looks a little better. That's 2. Ready? Let's go.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. Yeah, I love those.
Yeah, it's I used to do that with my kettlebell, and I would travel down the hallway and then back.
Do walking, yeah.
Yeah, and just kind of have it there, and take a step, take a step. Ooh. Yeah, the kettlebell is a nice little weight addition because of keeping it center, and I've really liked using the kettlebell.
Yeah, it would definitely improve your center line balance for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking for dumbbells at the thrift store, and I haven't found any. I'm kind of bummed.
I know it's not easy, man, but it's funny because one day you'll just go in there defeated, knowing you're not going to find any, and then boom, that's what happened with these right here. They're just sitting there, and this was the day before I asked them. I said, "Do you guys ever get dumbbells?" I'm like, "Oh no, just the plastic ones." All right, you want to count this out? Second.
Okay. All right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. One last set, and then we're halfway done. This is sort of the grueling, I would say more of the grueling workouts. I like day 1 and day 3 better than day 2.
Oh, yeah.
Day 2 is so appropriate, like a Wednesday. I'm a little off schedule, but thing is if you can miss days. No. Yeah, you can miss days, but you can't miss workouts. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Yeah.
maybe 3 days in a row you couldn't train. But you got to pick it up from wherever you left off. You can't go into a sequence.
Yeah, you got 4 days to compensate.
Yeah, your body doesn't know. Your body was like, no, that was just one day. You're like, no, man, that was 3 days. But nuh-uh. Next session, let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Last set of lunges, and let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yay. You know, in bodybuilding, yeah, ever since Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? No, we've never liked to do the lower body. But the lower body is the most important. Just like in martial arts, the lower body and the leg work, the lower body is so important in bodybuilding because it's a whole system that has to be pumping, you know? I mean, imagine lifting weights and your upper body can lift it and your lower body is struggling, right?
Yeah.
You could, in effect, say you're not strong enough to lift those weights, even though you could, right? So,
Yeah.
So in the bodybuilding world, doing squats is like, or in the fitness world, really, squats or lunges or the step ups, which we're about to do, are the most important. Like if you're going to do any exercise, that's what you would want to do because the base feeds the upper body. So depending on your body type and whatnot, you could actually have a pretty decent upper body just because of your lower body work, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Wing Chun's a pretty good example of that because we do a lot of this is all based kind of here, right? And we kind of just use that tension. Anyway, let's go.
Maybe I have a chair.
I got to watch that I'm not trying to avoid or procrastinate because I really dislike this exercise. Yeah, you have a chair? Go ahead and grab a chair. We'll wait.
I'm gonna grab a chair.
Yeah. So this one, ooh, that's not very strong, is it? All right. Well,
I'm already feeling my glutes. All right, this should work out.
all right. Yeah, I should probably grab my chair and not use the stool. This is a bad idea.
Shoes.
You know, I'm in need of just a weight bench, right? You know,
Yeah.
and they're like $80 or something. So I went to Home Depot and I just bought a $40 bench. Just a bench.
Oh, like a painter's bench?
No, just like a picnic bench. Yeah, it's kind of
like
long, but that's all right. It's perfect though.
It's like aluminum and it's like
Yeah, it's plastic. It's the usual folding plastic and aluminum.
Okay.
Yeah, but works fine and is half the price. You know, and it's portable, so I can carry it around. I can take it to different places. You know, so
yeah.
All right, here we go. Step ups, 3 sets of 12. 1. This is rather tedious. 2. 3. 4. You could use weights if you wanted here. I don't want to. 5, 6. We got 3 sets of these. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now I'm doing these rather aerobically. A arguably better way to do these would be you see, going down real slow. So it's almost in reverse and slow. Yeah.
To build the muscle, you drop the weight slow. What wasn't that Arnold's thing? You got it.
I want to do an Arnold voice where he says, "You don't lift the weight to pump the muscle. No, you don't pump the muscle to lift the weight. You lift the weight to pump the muscle."
YouTube short. Great. You might see it.
All right, you want to count this next set out?
Yeah. Can. All right, and
Yeah, if you want to turn this into martial art, just do a bonsao, tonsao. Bonsao on the stepping leg.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yeah, so I'm showing a good martial art movement to do with that is this, right? You're here, here, and here. This right here, so this kind of gets you doing these things automatically with the right legs and the right arms. So right, this would be this arm. This arm is going underneath the armpit. This is grabbing here, so to speak. You know, this is where a hand would be here, right? Hooks the lat. And then this picks up the leg from the knee, or the groin if you want. Doesn't matter, whatever you got. You know. Yeah. And you, if you hold on, then you could use it as a takedown to mount or whatever. Or you can just use it as a get out of the way. You know, I've used that so many times, that get out of the way thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's a good one. Especially if you add a trip to it. So you right as you're doing this trips. So this goes into this. That just makes sure that they go to the ground, you know.
Wait, so their right lat, their right leg, and then tripping with your right foot sweeping this way, or
yeah, it would be
sweep
like
inside
this.
of their leg with our opposite.
It'd be one of these instead of like one of these. It'd be sort of one of these.
Ah. I guess you do that too. Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Now you're wondering, where is that? Well, that's right on the Mook Jong, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
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 That's right.
So, all right, let's do one more set of these. And then we got 2 exercises left after this. And I'll count this. All right. Let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no! What am I saying? That's 4. There we go. Forgot how to count. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The last 2 exercises will be calf raises and twists. Last exercise is for the midsection. I'm not exactly know if I'm happy with the results of the twists. I'm considering more leg lifts or tucks, even more specific, because if they're tucks, then I can really focus on the abs rather than straight leg, right? Which is more here, right? I'm fine here. It's right here, right? Getting that little tubby, right? So I'm thinking bends, right? I'm thinking knee tucks, and of course those frickin' pikes that I do on the TXR bands. Oh my god. I'm convinced that someday you'll find me dead and I'll have the TRX band strapped to my legs and I'll just be like dead, X's in my eyes. Yep, another one died from doing pikes. Yeah. Those things kill. That's how you know they're good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. With calf raises, it's best to have a platform. I guess I kind of have a platform. Yeah, it's best to have a platform. You know what might work fine though? It's like this might work fine. Because all you're trying to do is raise up your toes, right? Just so you can get a little extension out of it, right? You have a block. Yeah, find a piece of wood. It's my favorite thing to use, a little 2x8 or something, you know. Yeah.
I think I could do it off the Mookie.
And so then
My Mook raised area here on the back that I could utilize.
that's the problem with these weights. They're too damn heavy. Here we go. All right. Let's go. 1, 2. Now you'll probably want to use your pedal for this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. Yeah. With the weights and the elevated toes, it really gives you a good opportunity to work on balance as well.
Yeah.
Holding the weight up on your tippy toes, right?
Yeah. My mom, she's really short, right? So all kitchen counters are taller than her. So every time she's in the kitchen doing stuff, she's always on her tippy toes.
Yeah.
And she's doing that for like 50
She's
years.
got calves like mine, doesn't she?
Bro, they're huge. It's insane. She's going to turn 70 this year, and she has calves like just these massive calves.
You're like,
being short. And
I'm going to be getting a transplant. I'm going to be transplanting my calves into my biceps.
Right?
What I do. Japanese and Hawaiians, they all got big calves. Yeah, it's genetically disproportionate in the big calf department, because when I first got into bodybuilding, people would be like, "Man, what do you do for your calves?" And I'm like, yeah. I didn't tell them. I would say ancient Chinese secret, But...
Yeah.
All right, second set. You want to count these out?
Sure.
Oh, God dang it.
So we're going to 20, right?
Yeah. 20, yes.
Okay. All right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah. Again, you take your calf muscles for granted until you find out that they're too weak for the task you're trying to do,
Yeah.
Because the ankles are kind of docile. They kind of just relax and do their thing. But if you really ask the ankles to do a lot, they will fail pretty quickly,
Yeah.
But yeah, like if you swim, surf, or swim, that probably really strengthens your ankles and stuff. Maybe cycling to a certain degree, because you really do you really can engage your ankles and your knees and your quads and everything in the whole cycling.
And your when I was recovering from my ACL MCL tear before I came to your Wing Chun. I was biking all the time, and I had thunder thighs and giant calves, and God, because it's the way that, because people can often just pedal like this,
Yeah.
right, and that's like the beginner way to do it. But if you pedal and you also move your foot like this,
right,
then you start to get calf action. And you get like the push and then the pull, the push and then the pull with your cycling. Get really fast.
All right. This is the last set, and then we got one last exercise. Let's go.
All right.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah. All right. Yeah, the last, but not least. I'm not going to give up on these quite yet, but I might in the near future switch this exercise up. Whoa!
Timber!
There's a little fragile setup. All right. So sitting on the edge of here, you can do this again. You can do this with a chair and your that thing. What is that thing? Kettlebell. There we go. And instead of doing this, you're just leaning back a little bit, leaning back and then twisting. Yeah.
Okay.
That.
Are you crossing your ankles?
Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. There we go. Yeah. 12, 13, 14, 15.
I had a late start.
That's right. It just might be, because this is not like an exercise that's ever been in my wheelhouse before. So my assumptions might be wrong on this exercise. Because mostly I'm feeling it more in the rotation of my spine, right? I'm not really feeling anything here. I'm not even feeling anything so much here, right? So I'm not giving up on the exercise, mostly because I'm not quite sure if I have the thinking right on it. But I am sure of this, and that is that I will do one or two, not now, but because I'm going to revise this exercise. And I think it's universal that most of us are dealing with that little extra, especially if you're eating in order to gain more weight so you can, put on more mass. Then the big challenge is that freaking tub. I don't like it. I do not like it. So we got to change that. So you're doing the conversion quickly, and all of it's not going to one place, which is a very common place, which is around there. So I'll probably do maybe add two solid exercises for the abs, because you have the frontal lower abs here that you can affect through this. This is a really good exercise right here. Just these knee tucks, right? Really isolating here. And then you've got the obliques that you want to stretch out and So anyway, all right, let's we got two more sets of these. Let's do it. You want to count this next set out?
15. All right, I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
I subtly feel it in my core, but not as much as if I was to like be doing those leg lifts,
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a core, definitely a core thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm feeling if my legs, if I could anchor myself and I could lean back more, then that might work better too. So it might just be the way I'm doing the exercise, but it's not hurting. I mean, in fact, I'd rather get strong here and then progress to doing it back here. You know what I mean? Because back here now you're starting to mess with your, hernia, stuff like that. So you got to watch that. All right. This is the last set of the last exercise. If you've come this far, you've trained this far, congratulations, last set. After this, I'd suggest doing some mild stretching, right? Mostly the lower body stretches, stretch the back of the legs, stretch the quads, stretch your hips, stretch your back, right? All right. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah. All right. We're only 9 minutes over time, which isn't bad for all the yapping we did. So that was only 9 minutes of yapping. That's record. So if any of you guys out there have any questions, any suggestions, any comments, be sure to leave them down below. If you want to join us for our martial art training session, that happens over at patreon.com/SifuZ. If you'd like to just simply donate to this channel, we're trying to get to 500 subscribers. So if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And yeah, if you'd like to join us full time, go on over to Sifu Z. What the heck was I saying? Oh, that's right. If you want to make a one-time donation to this channel, just go over to paypal.me/SifuZ and you can make a one-time donation for any amount you'd like. If you're out there in the Gunnison area in Colorado, I know Sifu Chad's schedule's really busy right now, but you can connect with him and maybe you guys can schedule a time to meet if you'd like to train in person. Of course, if you'd like to train with either of us or any of our soon to be growing alumni, then you will have to join the patreon.com over and sifuz.com. It's all linked on sifuz.com. So, but again, you join us over at patreon.com/sifuz. It's Sifuz. It's all Sifuz. The great Sifuz Wing Chun martial art fitness network. It's not even a real person. Yeah, it's a cyborg. Yeah, it's a cyborg. My name's Bob. you know, but this is just to talk your ear a little off here. But it's really exciting. Is now they're selling standalone AI units. How nutty is that? How nutty is that? They're like about this. They're about this big, and you feed it on whatever data you like, and then interface it with whatever interface you like. Now, I was excited to hear it, and I was also terrified.
Yeah.
I mean, that's terrifying. Because what I want to do is I just want to do Wing Chun. I want to do virtual reality Wing Chun, have my own AI Wing Chun agent that's working all the time. Like if I get up and wake up, it's already training. It's already done more research on it and said, you know what? We're going to do Fuxal like this now. That's because my AI speaks like a nice lady. She speaks like a lady. Yeah. But can you imagine your AI that's yours is online gathering information and analyzing that information and making and then you wake up and you train with this thing, right? You train with your AI, and it's like playing chess. Eventually it learns to beat you, which you then learn and you become an even better martial artist or a chess player.
Yeah. There's a computer game, and it's been around for over a decade now. It's called Starcraft 2, and it's a real-time strategy game, a lot like a chess match kind of thing. And before AI, it was just all humans playing the game and stuff. They have your actions per minute versus keyboard and clicking on the mouse. And so they installed an AI and the deep learning Google AI or something like that. And at first, like, it just sucked at the game. It was just really bad, But how quickly it accelerated to becoming better than all the professional gamers of this game was like 1 year, and all of a sudden it was doing thousands of actions per minute versus like your pro player that will do like 300 to 500 actions per minute, and then now just nobody can beat the AI in the game.
Yeah, I've been hesitant to say anything regarding what I've been wanting to do forever. Now that we're here and it can be done, I don't really feel the need to be very secretive about it because anybody can do it. Who in their Wing Chun brain wouldn't consider how to use AI and virtual reality and augmented reality specifically?
Yeah.
In Wing
There,
Chun.
the potential is so great, and not just in like having the AI do everything for you, like all the researching, but being able to like achieve a symbiosis with that AI, where what it learns, you learn, and you essentially learn as quick, or what I'm trying to say, um, learn at a faster progression rate with the assistance of an AI.
Well, again, we have to consider if we just use electric um, muscle stimulation at the electronic. I don't know the acronym, but electronic muscle stimulation. This simulates the whatever the resistance, right? Because the
Yeah.
simulating resistance isn't very difficult at all because it's an effect on your muscles, right? And uh, so it's very easy for Wing Chunners to put on some haptics. This is haptics essentially, right? To
Mm-hmm.
put on haptics and do augmented or virtual reality chi sao with your AI. That's badass.
Yeah.
Because see,
It is.
the thing is the AI isn't feeding you. The problem with AI, this is pretty heavy shit, man. But I'm just going to say it. The problem with AI is it's all text. It's all digital zeros, ones, and whatnot. In other words, and it's been the big thing. There's no emotion, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Right.
right. There's this lack of emotion. Now, this has been my thing. Again, I haven't said anything, but at this point, man, everybody has to have gotten this by now, or at least a huge critical amount. So it's no thing. Hey, if you do it before I do, great. You probably will, right? Or somebody will, right? So, but here's the thing. It gets all that Wing Chun information, right? And then it says, oh, but what about this? What about this? And what about this? Right? Just like when you read your Chat GPT response, right? It gives you, and some good responses, maybe some bad responses. So you're always reteaching, right? That you're like, okay, that's not really true. Let's 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 fix that, right? That's oh, that's not true. Let's fix that. This is not true, right? All of this is happening haptically. There is no text. So think about this. You're translating through the haptics of the AI. You're translating all this massive text, which would take hours and hours and hours to read. And then you'd have
Mm-hmm.
to understand it. You'd have to train it. Yeah. Or you do your AI, you do your VR with your trained AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it's immediate. It's like, like I said before, through touch, you guys learn so much when we just roll. You learn so much. And so imagine that is so low tech, high tech. It's bizarre because haptics have been around forever. It's just the computing power to start reasoning that hasn't necessarily been on the level that it's at now, where you can have reasonable conversation. That's reasoning, yes, reasonable conversation. That's just starting, right? So to be able to have reasonable conversation and have reasonable conversation through the haptics of your chi sao, that shit's crazy. Now,
Yeah.
here you go. Well, okay, that's great for the Wing Chun world. that's just the beginning. Imagine all the things that can be transmitted through this haptics that would otherwise take thousands of hours of reading and studying and training that you can do through muscle haptics. It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And just Wing Chun is just the beginning. And I think a very strong foundation of that whole concept, because the big picture of virtual reality for me since 1980 something has been to get people to experience things in a warped space-time thing. In other words, I could experience the lifetime of many things: trees, rocks, Africans, Italians. I can experience all of this in warped space-time, which would create a whole different human species. A species.
Yeah, that's essentially yourself a connective artificial intelligence to the speed of learning everything that's out there. That's kind of trippy.
And the empathy,
Yeah.
the level of empathy that you could achieve, right? Where you wouldn't just have empathy for other people, you'd have empathy for everything in the world around you, right? Which is would be really quite something, So to me, the base, the start is, of course, a healthy human being. None of this works if you're not a healthy human being, right? You gotta keep yourself balanced to your the so-called mind and body balance kind of a thing, to the best of your abilities. But then to be able to empathize. I mean, you imagine when we pass, what we miss the most of the things that we never got to experience, and then also what makes it so hard for us to empathize with other people. Well, I don't experience your world, and what makes us so biased is just our limited perspective. Limited perspective creates huge bias, and so we're never going to progress as human beings until we embrace this ability to do this. We can do it, and we not only have the math, the intellect. We've got the technology now. Before it was just a concept, the philosophy, let's say, right? So, and it could be achieved on some level philosophically, but now we have the technology to apply the psychology to the the philosophy, rather, to the psychology. We have the technology to connect this philosophy of ours to our psychology. I think that's huge. That's huge because our psychology now is just we're still fucking monkeys.
Yeah.
But our philosophy, well, we're so high and mighty in our philosophy, aren't we? But the reality of our psychology is we're shit flinging monkeys, So if we can connect our highest of philosophies to our physiologic, our psychologies, then we'll be able to, move on in our humanity, and to achieve and be worthy of achieving great things. Because you can achieve great things off the back of slaves, but you're not worthy. So now we can be worthy of achieving great things as humans. Boy, am I on a soapbox right now or what? But see, the thing is that I think it's important because everyone's so scattered and technology and everything's so scattered. If you have a reason and understand a purpose for this stuff within the context of being human and trying to be more empathetic and being more human, well, then you're on the right path. You're focusing in the right direction. If you're focusing on robots that kill everybody and blah blah blah, well, then you're focusing on the ditch. You're going into the ditch. You know, we have to change our psychology from um, avoiding the bad and pursuing the good.
Yeah.
Instead of always trying to avoid the bad. Well, the bad's going to happen then. If you're too busy pursuing the good, then the bad is unimaginable. I was thinking this in history. Once upon a time, a child could go to a school with a gun and ammunition. Once upon a time, that's what they would do. They put it in the locker after school. They go hunting. Sometimes they had hunting club in school.
Mm-hmm.
It was unimaginable that they would do anything other than go hunting. They were pursuing the benefits. They're too busy pursuing the benefits. All right. So this is like I really feel important steps that we need to take to attain our humanity. You know, to get this philosophy that we all agree of being, you know, because it really is philosophical, right? We could say, hey, screw you, survival of the fittest. You know, you can write that scenario if you want, right? So yeah, but to be human and to be focused on not I got mine, you don't have yours, oh well, you know, and that's all that world. That's all that world of like, well, yeah, I would, but I don't want to wind up like you, so I can't help you out. I ain't gonna give you, you know. It's like, hold on. Have you considered that how much more you'd be able to achieve if you had the help of this person that just needs a little hand here because, well, it's part of the human symbiosis, you piece of shit, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we'll get off the box there. Anything you want to end this stream with, Sifu Chad?
No, yeah. I guess I'll just end the stream with that profound talk that you just had. You know, so that was good. Yeah, it was pretty profound. Focusing on the good so much that the bad is obsolete. Really, you know.
Yeah.
Not even a thought.
Yeah, it's like that's way back there. I think Bill Burr said it. He said something that was kind of. I'm not a huge Bill Burr fan, but he's always on my freaking feed. And he says, "Why isn't war illegal yet?" You know, which is true because it's such just a it's just such human exploitation. You know.
Yeah, war is a horrible excuse for poor resource management. That's what I think it is.
Yeah, well, I heard there's a lot of memes going around. Another meme is
Really?
war is the poor's inability to satiate the rich. I love how they put it on the poor, like yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's all our fault,
or something like that. I'm sorry, I might have got that wrong. I think I need to go have a protein shake or something. Anyway, listen, let's bring it after that big philosophical explosion there. Let's bring it back, close by bringing it back to the basics here, and that is staying healthy, man. Having a sustainable method of fitness and a practical method of self-defense is so important. Without those, everything else is useless. Doesn't matter if you have all the right stuff above that. If you don't have a base of being able to stay fit and practically speaking, having some self-defense, that's in mind and body. But all this is mind and body, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Brains, that's important. All the
body.
other stuff, man, well, that you just have to let everything else be second. You really do. I hope that this reaches to the right ears, and that is, it doesn't matter. Your kids, your wife, your family, none of that matters. And or it matters, but second. Those things are second, because none of those things will be of any value if you're not healthy. If you're not of sound health and mind, then your family won't matter, your kids won't matter, nothing matters.
Yeah.
So I think, if you need strong, powerful advice, that would be it. Stay healthy, and not just any, just don't go lifting and working out until so you then hurt yourself, so you then don't have to train. I know that trick. That's a little psychological trick where guys, they hurt themselves, so I hurt my injury. That's why I said earlier in one of the exercises, if you hurt something, go through the movements. Just go through the movements. Fake it until you make it, baby. And so, yeah, make sure that you have a practical, sustainable method of fitness and a sustainable method of self-defense. And by the way, that's precisely what Sifu Chad and myself, that's what we do. That's what we provide. So we'll see you next week, same time. And again, if you haven't done so already, help us get to 500 subscribers. We'll see you next week. Aloha. And thank you, Sifu Chad.
Thank you.